Marie Osmond spent decades in the public eye, known for her warm smile, uplifting music, and family-friendly image. To millions of fans, she represented optimism and grace. But behind that familiar face was a life filled with challenges that few people truly understood. While audiences saw applause and success, Marie quietly carried emotional struggles, overwhelming expectations, and personal heartbreak that would shape her life in ways no television audience could see. Born as the only daughter in the famous Osmond family, Marie entered the entertainment world before she was old enough to understand what fame really meant. Music was at the center of everyday life in the Osmond household, and performing wasn't simply encouraged, it became part of growing up. At just a few years old, she was already appearing on national television alongside her talented brothers. While many children spent their days playing with friends, Marie's childhood revolved around rehearsals, travel, costumes, and television appearances. As the Osmond family's popularity grew across America, expectations grew with it. Every performance demanded perfection, and every appearance carried the responsibility of protecting the family's image. Marie learned early that mistakes weren't easily forgiven, and success often required sacrificing the ordinary experiences most children enjoy. Looking back years later, she reflected that music was always present in her home, but so was the constant pressure to keep improving and never disappoint those around her. When she reached her teenage years and became one half of the hugely successful Donnie and Marie television show, the spotlight became even brighter. Millions watched her every week, admiring her cheerful personality and polished performances. Behind the scenes, however, she faced criticism that had nothing to do with her talent. Television executives reportedly focused on her appearance, convincing the young performer that her body needed to change in order to meet Hollywood's expectations. Still only a teenager, Marie began believing that her value depended on how she looked rather than who she was. Wanting to satisfy those around her, she followed unhealthy dieting habits that caused her weight to drop dramatically. The pressure to remain thin became overwhelming, leaving emotional scars that lasted long after the cameras stopped rolling. Although audiences continued seeing the same bright smile on television, Marie privately struggled with self-image and confidence. Years later, she openly admitted how damaging that period had been. Rather than promoting unrealistic beauty standards, she began encouraging people to focus on health instead of appearance. She explained that true well-being mattered far more than chasing impossible expectations. Hoping her own experiences could help others avoid the same emotional pain she had endured. Marie also revealed that difficult experiences during her childhood affected her ability to trust others. Speaking honestly about those painful memories wasn't easy, but she believed sharing her story might encourage people facing similar struggles to seek support instead of suffering alone. Rather than allowing hardship to define her future, she continued building her career while slowly finding the courage to speak openly about mental health, self-worth, and emotional healing. By adulthood, Marie had become far more than a successful entertainer. She was someone determined to create the stable family life she had always wanted. After spending so much of her youth living in front of cameras, she hoped marriage would offer a sense of peace away from public attention. Like many people, she searched for a place where she could simply be herself instead of constantly performing for an audience. Although Marie Osmond achieved enormous success as an entertainer, her personal life was far more complicated than the public realized. Behind the concerts, television appearances, and magazine covers was a woman searching for lasting happiness away from the spotlight. She hoped marriage would bring stability after years of living under constant public attention. But real life proved far more difficult than she had imagined. In 1982, Marie married Stephen Craig, and the couple welcomed their first son soon afterward. Becoming a mother was one of the happiest moments of her life. For the first time, she experienced a kind of fulfillment that had nothing to do with applause or television ratings. She dreamed of creating a peaceful family life where her children could enjoy the normal childhood she had often missed. Unfortunately, the marriage didn't last. As both personal pressures and public attention increased, the relationship eventually came to an end. Divorce was painful, especially while raising a young child and continuing a demanding career. Even though the separation was heartbreaking, Marie remained focused on giving her son the love and support he needed. A year later, she married Brian Blazell, believing she had another chance to build the family life she longed for. Together they raised a large household, eventually becoming parents to 8 children through birth and adoption. Managing such a big family while maintaining a successful entertainment career required incredible dedication. Marie balanced recording music, filming television projects, touring, and caring for her children, often placing everyone else's needs ahead of her own. During those years, she also faced one of the most difficult health battles of her life. After the birth of one of her children, Marie developed severe postpartum depression. At first, she struggled to understand what was happening. The woman who had always appeared energetic and optimistic suddenly found everyday tasks becoming almost impossible. She felt emotionally exhausted, disconnected, and overwhelmed by feelings she couldn't control. For someone who had spent years believing she needed to stay strong for everyone around her, asking for help felt incredibly difficult. She later explained that depression wasn't something that disappeared through determination alone. It affected every part of her life, making even simple responsibilities feel overwhelming. While fans continued seeing the familiar smile on television, Marie privately fought one of the darkest periods she had ever experienced. Eventually, she sought professional treatment and slowly began rebuilding her life. Recovery didn't happen overnight, but step by step she found hope again. Rather than hiding her experience, Marie chose to speak openly about postpartum depression, hoping other mothers would realize they weren't alone. Her honesty encouraged countless women to seek help without feeling ashamed or embarrassed. As the years passed, she continued working while raising her family, but the emotional weight never completely disappeared. Looking back, Marie admitted that she often tried to solve every problem herself, believing that if she simply worked harder, everything would eventually fall into place. Over time, she realized some struggles require support from others. No matter how strong a person appears, after more than 2 decades together, her marriage to Brian Blazell also came to an end. The decision wasn't easy, but Marie later explained that both she and her children understood the relationship had reached a point where continuing together was no longer healthy. It became another reminder that sometimes moving forward requires accepting painful truth rather than pretending everything is fine. Years later, life offered an unexpected second chance. Marie reunited with her first husband, Stephen Craig, after spending many years apart. With greater maturity, life experience, and a deeper understanding of one another, the two remarried in 2011. Their reunion represented hope rather than perfection, a reminder that life can sometimes provide another opportunity when people have grown and changed. Just as Marie believed life was becoming more peaceful again, she would soon face the greatest heartbreak any parent could imagine, one that would forever change the way she looked at family, loss, and the value of every moment spent with those she loved. Just when Marie Osmond believed she had regained her footing, life delivered the most devastating loss she would ever experience. Nothing could have prepared her for the heartbreaking phone call that changed her family forever. In February 2010, her son Michael passed away at only 18 years old after struggling with depression. His death shocked those closest to him and left Marie facing a level of grief no parent ever expects to endure. Although Michael had been working toward a brighter future and had shown signs of hope, he had also been quietly fighting emotional battles that were difficult for others to fully understand. Marie later spoke honestly about the pain of losing her son, describing it as the hardest experience of her life. Like many parents who experience unimaginable loss, she found herself asking difficult questions and wondering if there had been something more she could have done. Over time, she also shared that Michael had faced bullying, something she believed added to the emotional weight he carried during his final years. Rather than remaining silent, Marie decided to use her experience to encourage conversations about mental health, depression, and the importance of listening to those who may be struggling. She reminded others that emotional pain isn't always visible and that kindness can make a meaningful difference in someone's life. Only a short time after Michael's passing, Marie made the difficult decision to return to the stage. To some people, it seemed surprising, but she later explained that performing helped her keep moving forward. Marie Osmond's life reminds us that fame can hide struggles the world never sees. Behind decades of music, television appearances, and unforgettable performances was a woman who faced heartbreak, loss, and personal battles with remarkable resilience. Yet through every challenge, she continued choosing hope over despair and family over fame. Today, her greatest legacy extends far beyond records sold or television ratings. It lives in the lessons she has shared about mental health, perseverance, unconditional love, and appreciating the people who matter most. Her journey proves that true strength isn't measured by how perfect life appears, but by the courage to keep moving forward after unimaginable loss. As Marie continues writing the next chapter of her life, her story stands as a reminder that every day with loved ones is a gift. Success may bring recognition, but it's compassion, forgiveness, and the memories we create with family that leave the deepest mark. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. We'd also love to hear from you which part of Marie Osmond's journey touched you the most. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.